I first met Milo on a bright Saturday when Dad parked our van outside Maple Street Shelter, its walls echoing with hopeful howls. Rows of restless dogs bounced behind wire doors, yet one sandy pup pressed his nose through the bars and whispered, "Hey kid." My jaw nearly hit the floor, because dogs are supposed to bark or whine, not talk like classmates during lunch. The pup's hazel eyes locked on mine, and he tapped the gate, repeating, "Please take me home. I have stories to tell." My heart hammered so loudly that every other sound disappeared behind its drumbeat. Dad saw my wide eyes and asked which dog I liked, but my tongue felt glued inside my dry mouth. The dog cleared his throat, a raspy squeak, and urged, "Hurry before I chicken out," which made me giggle. That tiny laugh broke the spell. I pointed straight at him and blurted, "Him, please," surprising Dad, the volunteer, and maybe even myself. The volunteer unlocked the kennel, and Milo, his worn brass tag spelled O, trotted out with regal calm, not so much as a single yip. He sat, offered a polite paw, and mouthed, "Thank you," though to everyone else it probably sounded like a soft sigh carried on his breath. I signed the adoption papers with fingers that buzzed like hive bees, unsure whether this was magic, madness, or the coolest day ever. The volunteer explained Milo had survived a river flood last spring, arrived soaked yet brave, and had since watched families pass him by. She said he was clever, gentle, and loyal, which matched the curious sparkle I kept catching in his sideways glances. When we stepped outside, a cool April breeze ruffled Milo's fur, and he audibly sighed, "Fresh air at last," causing me to gulp a laugh. Dad chuckled at the dramatic sigh, thinking it only a happy dog noise, while I knew it was really Milo savoring his first taste of freedom. I clipped on a new red leash, noticing Milo's ears flick back each time our eyes met, as if checking this miracle was still real. "You can hear me, right?" he murmured beneath the traffic hum, and I nodded, my skin tingling like soda bubbles. "Good," he said firmly, "because I guard a secret big enough to fill 3 libraries, and I need a partner who will listen." We reached the van, and Milo jumped into the rear seat, spinning once before plopping down like a king claiming his throne. As Dad started the engine, Milo leaned toward me and whispered, "Buckle up, friend. Our adventure is just getting started." The moment we arrived home, Milo dashed through the hallway like a gust, sniffing every corner and muttering comments about wallpaper choices. I closed the door and he spun around, sat squarely, and announced, "Ground rule 1, no squeaky toys after 8, they mess with my rhyme scheme." Dad wandered in with the food bag, froze, and blinked as Milo seemed to be giving a speech, though to him it must have sounded like normal dog noises. I gave a thumbs up to Milo's rule, hoping Dad would not notice my secret nodding conversation with a canine. Milo trotted into the kitchen, inspected the shiny bowls, and declared, "Stainless steel, excellent acoustics for storytelling echoes." He dipped his muzzle into water, slurped loudly, then sighed, "Hydration completed. Now, about those stories I promised." We sat cross-legged in my room, and Milo began recounting the flood that swept him away, describing roaring brown water like hungry dragons. His words painted pictures so vivid I could almost smell muddy riverbanks and hear distant thunder rumbling in my closet. He told of clinging to a floating door, comforting a soaking kitten, and whistling a tune that kept them both calm until rescue. I listened wide-eyed, realizing Milo talked not for show but to keep memories alive, like a personal history album in fur. After the tale, Milo asked for a notebook, explaining he wished to jot phrases before sleep erased them. I tore out my unused science pages and slid them over, watching his paw trace letters surprisingly well for someone without thumbs. Dad knocked, peeked inside, and laughed at the sight of the dog writing, assuming I had staged a photo for social media. Milo winked, whispering, "Let adults think what they want. The real adventure hides between lines only kids can read." Night settled, and Milo curled at the foot of my bed, humming a tune that sounded like a lullaby made of soft barks. I drifted off dreaming of rivers, notebooks, and talking pets, unsure what tomorrow's sunrise would bring. At dawn, Milo nudged me awake with a cold nose and said, "We need breakfast and then a plan because I refuse to stay silent today." He suggested visiting the park to test how strangers reacted to a chatty dog, convinced it could spark wonder instead of fear. I worried adults might panic, but Milo argued, "Dreams die in cages of worry. Let's set them free on green grass." His confidence spread like sunshine, and I agreed, already imagining stunned faces and endless questions at the city park. The park smelled of fresh-cut grass and syrupy waffle cones when Milo trotted beside me, tail swinging like a cheerful pendulum. A group of kids tossing a frisbee froze as Milo cleared his throat and said, Nice spiral, but a lower release angle adds distance. The frisbee clattered to the ground, and 12 curious eyes widened as if someone had cranked their surprise dials to maximum. One boy stammered, Did your dog just talk? And Milo bowed, replying, Indeed, sir, and I also know 11 knock-knock jokes. Laughter exploded, and the kids swarmed, peppering him with questions about favorite snacks, secret missions, and superhero rankings. Milo answered each query patiently, comparing peanut butter brands, detailing the art of sneaking extra treats, and ranking heroes by kindness. Soon a small circle formed, strangers bonding over the miracle of a dog that spoke smoother than some news anchors. A jogger slowed, removed earbuds, and nearly tripped when Milo offered jogging tips about pacing and hydration. The jogger laughed, called her friends over, and within minutes the park buzzed like a festival, all centered around one storytelling dog. Milo used the spotlight wisely, explaining how many shelter animals still waited for homes, urging everyone to visit and adopt. His words carried gentle power, sliding into hearts without fuss, much like sunshine melts morning frost. A little girl asked how he learned to talk, and Milo confessed that months of listening to shelter radio shows sharpened his ear for speech. He added, Kind words grow louder when shared, a sentence that fluttered into the clear blue sky like a paper plane. News spread fast. By noon, a local reporter arrived, camera ready, astonished to hear Milo greet her with, "I only give honest interviews." She filmed a segment where Milo outlined 3 steps to care for pets: patience, play, and plenty of ear scratches. The reporter promised the clip would air that evening, and Milo wagged politely, saying publicity was fine if it helped other animals. A vendor handed Milo a free vanilla ice cream scoop, minus the cone, while joking she finally met a customer with real speaking skills. After countless selfies, Milo nudged me, whispering, "Crowds are fun, but we have work to do back at the shelter." We waved goodbye, and the kids shouted promises to convince parents to adopt thanks to Milo's moving speech. On the walk home, Milo hummed again, this time a victorious tune that made me march as though leading a parade. The shelter lobby looked different when we stepped inside that afternoon, as if hope itself had painted brighter colors on the walls. Volunteers hustled between kennels, cheerful chaos stirred by the sudden surge of visitors who had seen Milo on the new news. Dogs barked greetings while cats purred behind glass, and every cage carried a handmade sign reading, "Ready for a forever story." Milo walked aisle to aisle, offering pep talks like a coach before a big game, reminding each animal to showcase its best tail wags. I held a clipboard, noting families interested in specific pets, proud to be part of something bigger than my usual Saturday routine. A shy gray kitten peeked out, trembling, until Milo whispered, "Confidence is a quiet roar," causing the kitten to sit taller. Soon a young couple chose that very kitten, crediting Milo for making them look twice. Paperwork rustled like applause. The shelter director thanked Milo publicly, calling him an ambassador of second chances, words that made my eyes sting with happy tears. Reporters returned, filming adopters hugging new companions while Milo narrated anecdotes about each animal's hidden strength. He told how one 3-legged terrier outran a storm, how a rabbit jumped hurdles, and how an old hound sang blues at dusk. Listeners laughed, cried, and lined up, eager to meet their future friends, the adoption forms piling higher than ever before. Milo reminded everyone that patience was crucial, saying, "A pet's trust grows like a tree, slow at first, then sky-high." His metaphor rooted itself in their minds. I saw heads nod and spines straighten as folks accepted the responsibility of love. By evening, 11 animals found homes, a record for one day, and the director rang a brass bell to mark the milestone. Milo bowed humbly when children chanted his name, insisting their applause be shared with every volunteer, vet, and timid animal. Dad arrived to pick us up, stunned by the transformed shelter vibe and a stack of adoption receipts taller than Milo's ears. He shook Milo's paw, now practically a celebrity handshake, and congratulated him, promising extra treats for heroic service. As the last family left, Milo sighed contentedly, saying, "Empty kennels are the sweetest sound. Silence means home." The director presented Milo with small gold tag engraved "Shelter Spokesdog," which he wore proudly next to his old flood tag. Leaving the shelter, Milo whispered to me, "One day down, buddy, the world is big and still so many voices need to be heard." The next week whirled past like a spinning carousel, with phone calls, interviews, and invitations stacking higher than my math homework. Milo appeared on a morning talk show, sitting politely on the couch and charming the host by answering questions and rhyming couplets. Viewers pledged adoptions so fast that the shelter's website crashed twice before technicians expanded it. At school, teachers asked me to share Milo's story during assembly, and I watched my shy classmates lean forward, eyes bright with wonder. Milo arrived wearing a tiny bow tie and began, "Every voice matters, even if it howls or purrs," instantly silencing the buzzing gym. He compared kindness to watering a plant. Skip a day, and growth stops. Nurture, and branches appear. The principal, wiping tears, announced a volunteer day at the shelter, and dozens of hands shot up, eager for slots. That afternoon, the local mayor awarded Milo a brass key to the city, though Milo joked he preferred keys that opened snack cabinets. Reporters asked whether Milo planned to enter politics, and he laughed, saying, "My platform is already full of paws." Behind the humor, Milo remained focused on the animals still waiting in cages across the world, never letting fame dull his mission. We started a plan called Chat with Compassion, where kids read aloud to shelter pets to calm them. Libraries joined, sending stacks of picture books, and before long the shelter hallways echoed with gentle voices practicing new words. Milo visited each reading circle, offering feedback like, "Great enunciation," or "Try slower so the puppies catch every syllable." Parents reported their children asking for books instead of tablets, a shift the school librarian labeled a small miracle. One night, as we reviewed campaign letters, Milo confessed he once feared his voice would scare people, not inspire them. I reminded him that courage often hides inside the very things we think make us odd, and he nodded, ears drooping in gratitude. Together we drafted a picture book about a talking dog who saves a shelter, laughing at how strangely familiar the plot felt. Milo insisted the hero dog wear mismatched socks, claiming quirks make characters memorable, a rule he believed applied to real life too. We ended the evening eating popcorn while Milo practiced reading the draft aloud, adding theatrical pauses that made me clap. As midnight neared, Milo whispered, "The world sounds brighter when we all share our stories," and I felt sleep wrap me like a blanket. Months rolled by, and life with a talking dog became my new normal, though surprises still sparkled like confetti in the air. Milo learned a video blog, sharing daily advice such as brushing teeth, respecting feelings, and choosing chew toys wisely. His subscriber count soared past 1 million, but he reminded fans that numbers meant less than the single pet adopted because of them. On the anniversary of our first meeting, Dad threw a backyard party with balloons shaped like paw prints and speech bubbles. Friends arrived with their newly adopted pets, and Milo greeted each animal in its own language. Barks, meows, chirps, even gentle guinea pig squeaks. The sun dipped, lanterns glowed, and Milo took center stage on the deck, clearing his throat for what he called the grand finale. He began, "I once feared my voice would echo inside cages forever, but a brave kid listened, and that changed everything." I blushed as cheers erupted, yet Milo continued, stressing that every person there had sparked change simply by opening a door and a heart. He asked everyone to pause, close eyes, and remember the first sound their pet made when finding home. Soon the yard filled with soft smiles. After the moment of silence, Milo announced a new dream, building a mobile library shelter van that would tour towns with adoptable animals and books. The crowd loved the idea, offering skills, supplies, and spare change. Even the mayor pledged fuel vouchers on the spot. Milo wagged until his hips wiggled, promising to draft blueprints first thing Monday morning, right after pancakes. Dad whispered I had chosen the world's busiest dog, and I replied that maybe the world needed exactly that. A shooting star streaked above as if punctuating the night, and Milo barked, "Make wishes quick, the sky is listening." I wished for courage to keep pace with my extraordinary friend, while Milo later admitted he wished for bigger notebooks. When guests left, Milo curled beside me on the porch, fireflies blinking like tiny cameras recording our quiet victory. He said, "Remember, buddy, stories never end. They simply wait for the next listener," and I nodded against his warm shoulder. Together we listened to crickets sing, each note reminding me that every creature has a melody worth hearing. Milo yawned at last, muttering, "Time to rest these vocal cords," though I knew dawn would bring fresh speeches. As I let him inside, I realized the shelter's whisper had grown into a song filling the world, and I hummed along, ready for verse 2. 2 months later, Dad's printer spat out Milo's library van plan, bright stickers showing shelves, kennels, and one tiny biscuit drawer. Milo perched on a stool and explained ramps, beanbag reading corners, and mats where tired pups could dream under picture books. He shouted, "We built today," and the garage buzzed with hammers, rollers, power drills whirring like bees, and Mom's cinnamon snacks. Neighbors brought lumber, spare bus seats, and solar lights so evening stories could glow warm and bright. Milo, like a firm director, kept calling, measure twice, laugh often, claiming jokes stopped boards from twisting. By weekend 3, the white van turned sunflower yellow. Tails and Tales Tour painted across the sides in big loopy letters. Milo checked every inch, lowering book bins for toddlers and sealing water bowls for rough farm roads. On launch day, the mayor waved a flag, a band played, balloons shaped like books floated overhead, and Milo barked a beat, making drums and paws land together. Our first stop, Riverbend Elementary, had lost its library to a roof leak, leaving halls that still smelled like rain. Kids swarmed, and Milo greeted each by name after memorizing the class list late the night before. Inside, he read The Brave Fish, kittens purring at sneakers while brave words filled the empty shelves, each syllable echoing against the metal walls. Soon 3 shy puppies found homes, their new names Coral, Finley, and Ripple chosen straight from the story. Teachers hugged us, saying Milo's visit planted more hope than all last year's fundraisers combined. Driving away, Milo's ears flapped like flags as he whispered each book left behind was a seed of wonder ready to sprout. The tour rolled to farms, town squares, and a senior home where grandmas traded cookie tips for bedtime fables while painted calves nibbled lazy clover nearby. News crews followed, but Milo kept interviews quick. Grinning reporters jotted quotes, and he saved screen time to show shy pets trusting patient readers. Under a harvest moon, we parked on a hill and watched fireflies circle the glowing van like tiny paper lanterns. Milo curled beside me and admitted he once feared one small voice could not matter in such a roaring world of car horns and glowing screens buzzing nonstop. I replied that every big library starts with one shelf, and he grinned, calling that thought a perfect chapter button. Stars thickened overhead, and Milo promised, "Tomorrow we refill the shelves and let talking spread farther than echoes," and I nodded, my heart drumming louder than the sleepy crickets awaiting dawn.